Hey everyone! In this video I'm going to be using Blender 3.2.1, so depending on when you're watching this, things might look a little different. Sonic! We're finally doing it! This has been one of the most commonly requested characters and something we've been very much looking forward to, so I'm excited the time has finally come. After spending a little while looking at all the various current Sonic models, which all seem to be relatively similar, I focused on the Smash Bros. Sonics for reference. Speaking of reference, if you've seen any of our other tutorials, I generally like to fill the scene with as many references as are socially acceptable before it becomes awkward. But I'm going to try this one without any and see how it goes. I'm still going to render out some orthographic projection references and post them up on the Patreon for anyone who wants them. If you're new to character modeling, or just first beginning, I would definitely try making Sonic. Although Sonic kinda looks like a tough character, he was actually pretty straightforward. If you're brand new to Blender, check out our Blender Beginners tutorial, which just goes over some of the basic navigation. During modeling, you'll be able to see the edits that I'm making up here, and in the pop-up box that appears down here. I'm also going to have my Screencast Keys mod active, so you'll be able to see any of my frantic button clicking in the overlay down here. Alright, before I actually start modeling, I'm going to set up my scene in the outliner. I'm going to add a couple collections, which you can do by right-clicking the outliner and choosing New Collection. I want one for my Sonic objects, one for the reference, which I'm not going to use, but you might have reference, and then you'll have a handy place to put them. And one for my archive objects, which is where I can throw copies of objects in case of some sort of catastrophic mistake. Then I'll have an older version of the object to go back to. You can click and drag stuff around in the outliner pretty easily. Alright, let's get to modeling. I'm going to turn the default cube into Sonic's shoes. It's good practice to try to remember to name your objects too, by the way. I'm not good at it. I skip this a lot. You should be able to see any button I push down over here. I like to model an orthographic view, which you can get to by hitting numpad 5. You can see what view you're in up over here. With this object selected, hit tab to enter edit mode. The screencast doesn't show when I lock and edit to an axis. So if you look up here, it says scale along the global Y, which means I've hit S and then Y, so I'm scaling only on the Y axis. That's also why this bright green Y axis showed up in the viewport. We're also going to make heavy use of modifiers to keep shape editing relatively simple. So head over to the Modifier tab and add a Subdivision Surface modifier. And as a personal preference, I like to turn off Optimal Display. Depending on how high or low poly you want your finished model to be, you can adjust the viewport resolution. I'm going to go with 2. Subdivision modifiers are great for getting smooth, complex shapes with relatively simple geometry. It takes a little bit of practice to get used to using, but really helps out. I frequently like to use wireframe view, which is why I turn off optimal display since it's kind of hard to tell what the shape looks like when it's on. Alright, I want the bottom of his shoe to be flat, which we can achieve in a variety of different ways. One way is with an edge split modifier. Move it up into the first position, disable edge angle, and with the lower face selected, hit Ctrl E and choose Mark Sharp. Something to always keep in mind is that modifier order does matter. Currently, the edge split modifier, which is set to only split sharp edges, is splitting the bottom face off before the subdivision modifier rounds everything. The other way around wouldn't work so well. This already looks pretty close to Sonic's shoes. Another way to flatten out the bottom is to undo the edge marks, get rid of the modifier, and just delete the bottom face with X. If we left the modifiers on, the bottom of the shoe would be filled with essentially a subdivided grid, and then you would have to fuss with all that to get the geometry that you want. But by deleting the bottom face, you can just fill it in with the geometry that you want. They're roughly the same amount of work really, I just like this way more. And also I did the other way first, and then I decided that I wanted to do it this way, so I just decided I'd show you both. You know. So now it's time to adjust the shape. We're going to need a little bit more geometry to work with. An easy way to add geometry is edge loops. Ctrl R adds an edge loop, scrolling the mouse wheel will increase the amount of cuts. And I'm going to go with 6 cuts. But I don't actually want all of these edge loops, just a couple of them. So with Edge Select active, hold Alt and select the extra edge loops. Then hit X and choose Dissolve Edges. Now there should be about enough geometry to get the shoe shaped pretty decently. I wanted to use Edge Slide to slide these front vertices forward, but I couldn't get it to work without filling in the face down below. Now if I double tap G to initiate an edge slide, slide a little in this direction, and then hit C to turn off clamp, you can edge slide along an edge beyond the initial boundary of that edge, which is really useful in certain situations. And then just delete that face afterwards. I'm pretty happy with this shape overall. So the next step is going to involve applying the subdivision modifier and editing the subdivided geometry. This can't easily be undone, so it's a good time to duplicate and archive the object. Also, disable the visibility of the archive collection, so there aren't any extra objects cluttering up our scene. Now we can safely apply the subdivision modifier and directly edit the subdivided geometry. I want this edge loop to be shaped more like the bottom edge of the shoe, which we could try to edit by hand, but it'll be easier to just select and dissolve it. And then add a new edge loop with Ctrl R. Now hit E to borrow the shape from the bordering edge. We want this red dot on the lower edge loop. If it isn't, hit F until it is, and then place the edge loop somewhere in here. Now I'd like to make some slight changes to the curvature of this edge loop, which would be easiest to do with proportional editing. However, I only want proportional editing to affect this edge loop, so hit Ctrl I to invert selection, and then hit H to hide. Anything that's hidden won't be affected. Now up at top, we can turn on proportional. When we make mesh edits, this circle shows up, which is the size of the proportional falloff. If you scroll the mouse wheel, you can adjust its size. Proportional editing is very helpful for smoothly editing the positions of multiple vertices at once. I also want to lift the front a little bit. Once everything is in place, unhide the rest of the mesh with Alt-H. And I want another edge loop down here. Scaling this edge loop down on the x-axis will start shaping the outsole. I had to look up what that was called. Not really like a shoe guy, a cobbler person. Is that cobbler? Yeah, cobbler. This is really all personal preference on how you want your shoe to be shaped, how you want to shape your shoe. Do it how you want, however you want. Whatever shoe. Put them in nice shoes. Put them in boots, dress shoes. I looked at a cobbler's website, now I got a ton of different types of shoes and I don't know, sneakers. Here's another editing trick I like to use for smooth edits. Select a few vertices, like these 9 for example, and select this vertex last. Go into the pivot point menu, and change to active element, meaning now our selected vertex will serve as the center of our edits. So if I scale on, say, the y-axis, everything will shift towards this point on the y-axis. And then we can do the same thing back here, selecting this point last and scaling up this time. There's a few more edge loops than I probably need, so I'm going to select and dissolve a few of them. This is looking really good, so let's select all, and in the face menu choose Smooth Shading, which will get rid of all of the hard shading between faces. Sonic's shoes have a little strap along the top, which if you want to stay extremely low poly, you can just texture on, but I'm going to give it some shape. So with Face Select active, select this face, and while holding Control, select this face on the other side. Blender will choose the shortest path between the two faces, which should be the faces that we want. If it doesn't work, just select a closer face in between, and then the final face, all while holding Control. Now hit Alt-E to bring up the Extrude menu, and choose Extrude Faces along normals. As you move the mouse, these new extruded faces should scale out from the shoe. And then just click to confirm whenever it's the depth that you want. The shoe is pretty close to done, we just need to fill in the bottom. So, fill in the bottom with faces however you want. Hitting F is the keybind for adding edges or faces between vertices. I'm going to add a loop cut down the center and then fill in each end with n-gons. And now selecting vertices in pairs and hitting J. I'm going to divide these faces up into quads. You can just go ahead and turn them into tris if you prefer, doesn't make much of a difference. It's looking pretty good, just a few minor adjustments left. I want to move the bottom edges of the white strap a bit just to kind of round this corner more. Don't forget to change the pivot point as you need. For the most part I use median point. So the shoe is almost done, but the shading needs some help since it's all set to smooth. I want some sharp edges to add definition to the details, which we can do pretty easily with an edge split modifier. Disable edge angle and then select the edges that you want to accentuate. Hit Ctrl E and mark them as sharp. By default, sharp edges show up as light blue in the viewport. Just keep marking edges until you get the shading that you want. Now let's get our shoe positioned in the scene. I'm going to line up my Sonic with the world origin, so the bottom of the shoe will be at 0 on the Z axis. And I'm going to move the shoes forward so that his legs will be somewhere around 0 on the Y axis. And now we need to make the other shoe, which we can do with a mirror modifier. An object by default mirrors on its origin, which is this orange dot. We could move the object origin to the world origin in a variety of ways, or we can add an empty object to use as the mirror object. If you prefer to move your origin, hit Ctrl A and choose Location. Another way to move the origin is under Object menu, choose Set Origin, Origin to 3D Cursor. You can move the 3D cursor wherever you want with Shift S, or under the View tab of this side menu, which you can open up with N. It'll allow you to precisely place an object's origin wherever you want, which can be handy in certain situations, but generally object origins are just applied to 0, 0, 0. So there we have it, some beautiful shoes. Now is a good time to save the project. Thank you for watching, I hope you've enjoyed. Please leave us a like and subscribe. You can download this model and the reference for him off of our Patreon for free. Thank you again. Stay safe. I love you all. Goodbye.